Yeah. Hey guys, so I have a husky behind me, so I should watch out. Oh, what's up, boy? You wanna come? Wanna be in a video? Oh. See who it is. Hello. How you doing? You wanna join us? Whoa, you should join us too. So, as you are obviously here because you decided to click on this video. On my link. And doing so, I'd like to say thank you because that means you want to hear what I have to say, which is very, very nice. Now, as you can see in the title, this is about depression. And why am I talking about depression? I mean, our life has been rough for some years, but I really miss people talking more about it. Like that thing with, well, you don't just have to have depression because this or that or something like that. You don't have to have it just because. So I decided I want to make a video about depression in detail. My reason for making this is very simple. My husband Michael is going through a depression. And if you have more questions towards him or any questions at all, like how he feels, how things going, how come he has depression, whatever, please ask him. You should easily be able to find the link to his YouTube channel, or it might be more difficult to communicate with him, through YouTube if you're not a personal friend. But if you'd like to talk to him, whether you're, no matter who you are, then we'll figure that out. Anyway, not the purpose of it, but I wanted to, as Michael's wife of almost 4 years now, talk about depression. Whew. It's kind of funny with sicknesses, with mental things, physical things, and so on, how we often try to pretend like we don't have it or ignore a person that does have it. Just it's like we gotta be picture perfect all the time. And I myself have been fighting a lot about that picture perfect, even though I'm far from what I classify as picture perfect compared to my friends and families and so on. I've been fighting with it, but with depression, it's one of those many things where I feel like we need to speak out more. And now we've just had Women's International Day, I think it was. I don't really go up in that because for me, it's like we're outlining things, but that's a total different video. This is about, it doesn't matter who you are or what you've been through with it. So with this video, it's a bit about a journey of learning what is depression, what is it for us that's got a spouse, or what is it for us that has it, the long term, the short term, and that. You ready? All this, I've actually been Googling a lot to figure more out. Danish and English research, both Wikipedia and other more doctor websites and that. And for example, one of those questions a lot of people are like, why would you have depression? I mean, your life is good, or blah, 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 blah. Stupid questions, just saying. So, why do you get depression? Well, I ain't no doctor, but in my own opinion, I have studied the human brain for a long time, human body language. I studied that for a long time to induce my knowledge of communication between me and others, since I felt not that I lacked, I misunderstood. It was like I was black and green and everyone else was black and red, so I only understood half of it, kind of a thing. Anyway, but back to this. Why do you get depression? Well, in my own words, depression in a picture language is you just had a asteroid, those really big stones from space, planted right into your brain, your heart, everywhere in your body. You have this huge weight that's lifting you down. Well done, Miranda. That's putting you down. That makes you feel like the worst day you've ever had. If you take your whole life, the worst day you ever had of your whole life, and have that feeling from that day constantly. I mean, it's depression. It's literally like the word say, depressed. You are. I don't know if this is actually why they call it that, but this is how I think of it. It's pressed. You're pressed. You're under pressure all the time. So there's all these emotions and so on. And all this depends on different situations, which we'll get to. I have here a website, a Danish one called Net Doctor. Ow, I just bit my tongue. Net Doctor DK. And in it, it says, why do you get depression? So here is the scientific version of it. Modern, and it's just me translating, so I might stop up. Anyway, modern research suggests that depression is due to there is unbalance between the works of different brain center things. You know, you have different brains. You have the left, and right, and so on, and you have like emotions one place, and you have seeing another place, and blah 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 blah. But that there is loss of balance between the working of the brain. It can happen a lot of different ways. For example, stress, or different like psychological experiences that was overwhelming. Basically, when we in our life, some people are so lucky to have a nice, relaxed life, which partly sounds boring. Excuse me. Oh, I forgot to breathe there. Then there's also people that has so many bumps in the road that sometimes there's just a bump that pulls you, pushes you a little further down, and that does snap, and your brain's like, it's like a child like choosing between the one bad thing and another. You lose your mind basically. Not saying that people with depression are crazy in their mind. No, not saying that. Anyway, back to what the scientists say. Blah, 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 blah. If the pressure, the tension keeps on going for a longer period of time, and you are definitely, especially if you're especially, oh man, my throat does not like that right now. And you are especially blah 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 blah. And if you are an especially sensitive person, blah blah blah, or no, if you are, this is going very well already, and we're 10 minutes in. Wow, 10 minutes already, fast. I haven't even started, really. If you are especially sensitive to what has happened or what is happening with this pressure going on, mentally or physically, yeah. It can worsen to that you become depressed. There is different versions, different things that can make you depressed. It's apparently a scientific proof. Is a lot of it is from childhood, like the very serious. I don't know what to call it. The very serious, pressures in childhood, for example, sexual, what do you call it? Misuse, sexual abuse. Thank you, Ryan. For example, sexual abuse can also leave its marks in the brain's stress. I really hate big words. I have to think of how to translate them. Stress handling system. Those kind of things can be difficult in your brain's stress handling system. Yes, we're going a lot into the brain. It's all about the brain. So you, with this childhood, if you're one of those that has depression due to something in childhood, which not everyone knows where they get the depression from, it's kind of like if you have a baby chick, and some feathers of it already has cracked off from something in when it was a baby. Then, of course, when it's a adult, then, I mean, those things can't always grow back, so it'll always have difficult flight. So if it gets a bit more injured as an adult, then it would be even harder for it than if it didn't have that injury from being a child, kind of thing. It's kind of like that. You already have the wound, so it's just opening the wound even more. So you were never fully healed, which is quite sad, and depression. Yeah, so you get, if you are some of those people that has depression due to some extreme events in your childhood, that can easily lead you to be more sensitive as an adult to stress, to getting much easier different anxieties, and yeah, like I said, depression as an adult. And again, this is just me translating from the website. If you've already once have had a depression, then you barely need anything to go wrong before you get it again. Like how some people get easily sick with the cold than others. It just comes so fast. It comes so easily. Doesn't take much. And if you've had a depression, so you much easier get more depressions, then in the end, it almost The depression, it comes naturally, unfortunately. Um, it just women compared to men, and this is scientific. I'm not sexist, and I'm tired of all that stuff. But physically and mentally, there is a difference between us. So we don't need us humans to even more make a division. But women compared to men, women actually get hit by depression um, twice the amount, much easier. Um, there is different explanations on that. It is suggested that women's biologic um, that that women biologically are more sensitive to stress than men. That's why the word came. Oh, and stress, those stress pressures that I was talking about, it makes it much easier for one to slip into a depression. Don't really jump into it, you slip into it. I'm not going to read the rest of that. It's not important. Okay. So, yeah, what is depression? That was the scientific version. For me, depression. How's that? It's a mindset where, like we just read, where something has happened, childhood or adult, or both, which has done, your body has gone down to things like, I'm not worthy, no one loves me, what can I do? I'm pathetic. Why should I live in this world where suicidal thoughts can come in? There is, in depression, big chances for suicide. I had to think there for a second how to say things. This is due to you constantly under pressure, and what you gotta understand is depression isn't because you're under pressure because of others. It came maybe from the outside world, but depression keeps you in often due to also your thoughts compared to what happens. Like, let's say, I lost the job. I am worthless and useless. I am a mum, but I can't really breastfeed because I'm not strong enough. I'm a weakling. I got divorced with my wife. I'm unloved. I can't take care of others. I can't. What do you call it? I can't commit. That's what you call it. I can't commit. I can't be loved or love. As a child, almost the same thoughts. I mean, I'm useless. No one wants to be my friend. If I'm down this far in life and I'm only a teenager, why the frick should I grow up? I might as well just die. No one's gonna miss me. No one's what do you call it? no one's going to realize I'm gone. It's like a humongous stone is on you mentally, and if you have any belief, any faith, then it's very hard because there's one more area where you can. It's basically like you're disappointed in yourself. So you're normal, you're neutral, then the world comes in and goes bluff, and because something happened in your childhood, then you're already down here, and because of what came from outside in the world, then what do you call it? That makes you think, okay, one more pressure all the way down to the bottom. I can't figure out. So it's literally when you have depression, it comes in layers. Those things pushing you down mentally, and it keeps them going, and that. So if you have a huge test period, and especially us in faith, we often do because the devil wants to try and get us away from God, then there can come one pressure after the other, and it can keep rolling, and it's so tough. It's like you keep on getting punched in your stomach all the time before you can barely catch your breath. So at the end, you just fall down because you can't breathe. Okay. Oh, stretch. How many kinds are there? Yes. How many kinds? I was reading a song. I just go find it. That just. Oh, okay. Well, within how many kinds there are, it's in the scientific version. I won't go in on that because A, this video will take like 3 hours, and B, I'm not a scientist. So you can probably find someone on YouTube or Google it yourself. But this is just a short thingy, bobs. But depression comes from different things. It's responded to in different ways, and people react different ways. It's all different, basically. But depression is sadness all the time, and that. So, yeah. From the medical news today, the signs and symptoms of depression that they include, and this is from them, directly from their website, medicalnewstoday.com, is a depressed mood, reduced interest or pleasure in activities once enjoyed. So, yeah. A loss of sexual desire. Compared to that, with depression, it's not just mental, it's both mental and physically that you're down. So, yeah. Which is why it makes sense that with the things you used to love to do of activities, you don't anymore because you're down. Change in appetite. Unintentional weight loss or gain. Sleeping too much or too little. Restlessness and patching up and down. Aggravation. Slowed movement and speech. Loss of energy. Feelings of worthlessness or guilt. Difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions. And recurrent thoughts of death or suicide or an attempt at suicide. Now, do note that this is, if you have like one or two you can say yes to, it does not mean you have depression. I have a few I can say yes to here, and I don't have depression. For example, unintentional weight gain. I'm trying to lose weight, I just gain weight. sleeping too much or too little, restlessness, um, loss of energy, um, feelings of guilt, difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions. A lot of these thoughts is actually just normal people, but also that it depends also before the depression if you got some special medical things like both me well yeah I have some different things that if you want I can go more deeply into what's going on in my body. In females, depression is not is nearly twice as common as in men. And this is according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, CDC. There are some symptoms of depression that tend to appear more often in females. For example, irritability. That also sounds like me. It almost sounds like I have depression even though I know I don't. Anxiety. Yep. Mood swings. Yep. Loss of energy. Dwelling on negative thoughts. As I say yesterday, don't be concerned that I have depression or anything. I don't have depression. Don't worry. I'm a very special and unique. Some types of depression are unique to females, such as postpartum depression, and premenstrual dysphoric disorder. Why do they have to make weird words out of it? For us common, normal people that like simple words. In males, the other sex. Around 9% of men in the United States have feelings of depression or anxiety, according to the American Physiological Association, aka APA. It's not the same as the women's. No, that was CDC. So CDC and APA. Males with depression are more likely than females to drink alcohol in excess, display anger, and engage in risk-taking as a result of the disorder. So now you know if he has depression or not. If you're not sure if you have depression, what I would do is I would, for fun, go in on a website and take a test of it, and then, depending on what it says, if I believe that might be true or there might be something about it, I would then go to my doctor and then go from there, kind of a thing. But for the things I'm reading right now, if you are like yes to everything, don't just say I have depression. Of course, if you feel very down and so on, then might be. Other symptoms of depression in males may include avoiding families and social situations, working without a break, having difficulty keeping up with work and family responsibilities, displaying abuse or controlling behavior in relationships. And then in teens, can experience withdrawing from friends and family, difficulty concentrating on schoolwork, feeling guilty, hopeless, or worthless, restlessness, such as an inability to sit still. And in children, that the CDC estimates that the US has 3.2% of children and teens aged 3 years old, from 3 years old, that's a little kid, till 17 have a diagnosis of depression. I did not expect that. As you can hear, I haven't read the whole thing, but I didn't I didn't expect that. 3 years old. That little one, that little kid that's just learning to balance a plate while walking through to the dining table and that can be hit with all those thoughts. In children, symptoms can make homework and social activities challenging. They may experience symptoms such as crying, low energy, clinginess, definite behavior, and vocal outbursts. They may have difficulty expressing, that was better, how they feel in words. This can make it harder for them to explain their feelings of sadness. As a wife, it can be very tough. It can challenge you in a way that, without being patronizing, sometimes it's like you are married to a child. I mean, depression does that. You look so much down on yourself. You feel so sad, lack of energy and everything. So you physically can't do much, which equals you can't do much around the house. You can't care as much for the things and that. It's really hard for me sometimes because I really want to be selfish and say, man, get up, move your ass, come on, I don't want to do all this myself. Can't you just move a little? You don't do anything around the house. That's what my inner irritational negative moods want to say. But is it going to help? No. And that's where, if you have depression, or especially if you know someone that's in depression, know how to talk to them. Like, in the start, I kept on being like, I actually 90% of the time forgot that he had depression. And you're like, what? Yeah, I forgot my husband that I lived with had depression. Which did that. I was like, come on, move it. Come on, what's going on? And then recently, I had to think to myself, like, girl, if you want it done, you do it. If you don't have energy for it, then don't do it. But also that with whether that bottle or that dish comes in the dishwasher, sometimes, yeah, you can remind him and that. But other times, then it's like, who freaking cares? I mean, who cares if it's a little dirty here and there? Where, I mean, people can easily come and judge us and like, oh, the house ain't that clean, or, oh, you got this, you do this, blah, blah, blah. But even though that really pisses me off when people do that, it also is like within this depression that Michael has, I've learned also that we're standing ground. Like, I have a choice as his wife. My choice is I can be with the people bickering him, which ain't gonna help anything, and, well, apparently their lives are so boring that they want to pick on others. Or I can support him, and when people come and say, why can't you do that? Why can't you even do that? Why can't you even do that? Then I'm like, you know what? Shut up and go away. Don't talk to my husband like that. And yes, if you are one of our friends and you come and talk to us, I get very easily in defensive mood. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong right now. Defense mood. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Defense mood. Due to, I've tried that where people got after me a lot. Because people don't understand me. Like I said earlier, my brain's interesting. So, what else does it mean as a wife? It means that I have to fight with myself. Because believe it or not, I have a lot of difficulties before and while I am sick. I myself am sick. Just so we're all clear on that one. Michael, he is sick with depression, which is a mental state, while I am physically sick due to I got injury that has cost me over 2 years of rebuilding my body and living and fighting a, what do you call it, paranoia, anxiety, and so on. I can make a video about my whole thing if you want. But, so I'm sitting as a wife for a man that has depression. We have 2 dogs who needs to be aired, needs to walk every day. We need to ourselves get out and get fresh air. I have a job. I have an internship to get myself moving up to work life again, which I'm looking very forward to when my body allows me to. My point is, as a wife, I'm telling you, who has a husband, wife, who cares? If anyone that you're close that has depression, the worst thing you can do is be part of that depression. The best you can do is be part of that person that's fighting the depression. It doesn't mean you need to talk to them. Sometimes they need to yell in your face because that's what they do. Sometimes they just need that you sit and hug and they can blur out their eyes. So, jeez, I'm speaking Danglish right now, I think. Anyway, depression is so tricky. Because it's alright. Max, can you stop doing that? Tiny puppy. What was I about to say? I forgot. Oh well. What I've learned during this depression is we're freaking blessed. Yeah. We're very blessed. And I'll tell you why. Because we have been through so much in our marriage. So much. We've been married for just under 4 years. We have not had one quiet month, almost, of things. And that is that is mixed between physical and mental problems and so on, and everyday problems and whatnots and so on. So, I'm getting really tired. I can feel I'm cutting off. As a wife living with a husband that has depression, as a perfectionist, one that has different things in my mind going on that I've been battling with for a lot longer than there's been things going on in the house, then it can be a struggle. But I gotta remind myself, it's all about me. He's fighting depression, but it's all about me. What's my actions? What's my emotions? Yeah, my emotions can tell me that he is pissing me off because he's not taking charge of the things he said he would do, and I told him 10 times within the last day, even though he just said, things like that. This is just an example. Things like that. But then, I'm learning that with Stop Up. Well, has he told you how he felt today? Is it a bad day or a worse day? Is it does he have those hyper days? Is it a day with loads of energy, or he wants to sleep all the day? Is he eating or drinking? So, I mean, it's important to know that as a spouse, as a family member, to know both, because of, like we read with the weight gain and loss, but also that with, if you don't eat and drink, you're going to get sick. If you start doing stuff, you're going to get sick. I mean, even a freaking bath can make you sick because you either have to stand up or you get sudden hot or cold water on you and so on. So it's you partly have to be a nurse. And I know probably people that has depression won't like me saying this, but this is me trying to tell you how I see it from my perspective as a wife. You might not like the way I describe it, but I know that what I'm doing is okay. But yeah, learning about myself, learning about that with how fast should I go with him? Like, that thing with, why have you forgotten this? Why didn't you do that? And instead of that, go like, how are you feeling today? Or, oh, I noticed that this was out. Did you forget we talked about it yesterday? Or have I misunderstood our conversation yesterday about dealing with this thing? Things like that. Things that you're telling him, or you're telling them what you want, what's going on in your mind, but without putting any pressure on them. Because otherwise, like, oh shit, I forgot that. Or, we did say that? We did talk about that? I don't remember that. Or things like that. I'm like, then you can go into your mind and be like, stop. He just said, that probably means that today you need to adjust every day, basically. Your activities in that day depend on him in a way. Like say if you have 5 things you want him to do that day, but he's feeling down, then you give him 1 or 2 depending on, or you give him a few depending on how easy or hard it is, or instead of being his mom, be his wife and ask, well, how much can you handle? Or I would like you to do this, this, and this, and this today, but I can hear that you're not feeling that well. So which one of those can you do today? Do you have energy for? This and this is the most important. So how about I do one of them, you do the other, or we share them so it gets done, the important, but you don't crash even further down. Things like that. And like I said before with the plate example, there's hardly anything that's really, really, really important. I mean, we just recently did some papers for our commune, and yeah, I mean, that I luckily have mentally a lot more energy, so that made things a bit more easy for me. Actually, a lot more compared to 2 years ago. I keep on getting Max's under my feet. Yeah, camera shaking because of him, I'm sorry. Stop shaking. Thank you. But, don't get angry at them. Like I said, when someone's in depression, don't fight them, fight the depression with them. And don't fight it with them on your terms, but their terms. I also had difficulty with that. I've had to really learn the difference between telling him and asking him, giving and taking, saying, oh, well, the whole floor is filthy, and he's laying in bed 10 o'clock in the morning because he's feeling bad. Well, then you have a choice. Are you going to go in there, storm in there and say, get your ass up and vacuum clean? Or are you going to go in there and say, will you have energy to do this today? Or the third, or the third would probably be that you do it. Or, as I do sometimes, like, do I have energy to do this? Do I have time, depending on how many things I want to get done this day or how well I'm feeling? And if it's like, I got a headache, I feel exhausted, then my thought was like, who cares about that floor? I'm going to go up and sleep. He's sleeping. We're both getting what we need. Or if it's, then take the vacuum cleaner out, do a fast 2-minute thing, headset on with music on, and then within 2 minutes, within the time that you could just use standing there, looking at it or talking to him about it, it's done. And yes, of course, it depends on how big the room is, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? Whoever thinks of those kind of things, go away. So as a wife, having a husband in depression, it's about being a 1% nurse, 99% wife, but at the same time as that, it's about learning your spouse. Like, ask them. Don't ask them a lot. Remember, they get very easily tired. They feel sad all the time. Like, a little secret is sometimes after work, I get in extreme candy mood. Guilty. Anyway, and something I like doing is to find something that I know he really likes. Like, he loves nuts, like peanuts. I hate peanuts. He loves nuts. So I like get him a nut bar or like a cookie chocolate drink. He loves those. I get something like that just to come home with a little extra surprise. And it's not something he has to do. It's food, and food for some, it can give comfort. I mean, there is what do you call it? Like I said, with depression and appetite, you can have appetite loss or a extra, and loss is due to because you feel sad, you don't feel like doing anything, but you can also due to emotional eating. You know, you eat when you're sad, when you're happy, when whatever. Cards on the table. I am an emotional eater. It's what I do. And I love chocolate. So, but small things like that. I mean, like when I feel unwell, then and he goes out fast to shop for something because we're out of the one thing I need to feel better, like juice or painkillers or something like that. Then sometimes he would come home with things like Maltesers, and I'm like, yay! He doesn't ask me if I want any, he just gets it, and it's like, I love Maltesers, yay! I mean, those things, that's the kind of thing that keeps you going, because even though he could make me feel less pain, even though I could make him feel happy in mind, it can still help the mood a little bit. Like, sometimes I do, if he's really down, I tell him, you go and you cuddle our dogs. You're like, okay. Yeah. Because even though he doesn't want to, even though he has no energy, no motivation, or anything like that probably, he's still, the person's still, the dogs have a special thing about them that when we hug them, it's like, the weight is lifted. It helps a bit. And dogs don't care what's up with you. They can feel it. They can sense it. But like our Husky and Labrador, they just want cuddles. They just want to give you love. They're like, Mommy, Daddy, why you sad? You cuddled me. We happy. Fluffy, fluffy. Yeah. That's basically dogs. So, and watch like on YouTube. One thing I do sometimes when I'm really sad or when I can feel I need laughter to focus on something else, I YouTube funny videos of dogs. It's hilarious. It's really, really, really hilarious. So, anyway. So, within depression, how do you work with someone? How do you work with someone with depression? Well, do everything. Think of the way they used to be, but cut that way down. So if they used to work 10 hours a day, make the food, look after the kids, then cut it to 3 hours a day or 5 hours a day, and that they barely barely buy the food or something, or just put it fast in the oven or something like that, and the kids get a babysitter or something. That's how different it is. It changes so much, the things. I mean, in depression, your mind is basically hopeless. You basically have a hopelessness, and you have real critical feelings about yourself. Like I said, with self-worth, self-doubt, anything negative, you basically got it. And also, like I said, sleep. Lots of sleep or hardly any sleep. Right now, I'm fighting hardly any sleep, but I don't have depression. Um, Working together, it's important to talk together about what can you handle. And I'm a person that I know the feeling of, I don't know what I can handle tomorrow, because tomorrow I might feel like shit. But, so that does, that you have to adjust to that. I don't know how I'll feel tomorrow. I don't really know how he feels today, honestly, but I've been at work today, so I've, yeah, there's been different things. Anyway, who cares? Doesn't matter. Whatever. Forget it. Blah. Um, Working together is about communication. You gotta communicate with each other so he knows how much you want, but you know, well, they know how much you want, but you know how much they can handle. And then agree on something. And remember, in marriage, it's a give and take. I mean, remember that with, okay, if you really didn't want to take the kids today, but if they so far down they're laying on the sofa and can't do anything, then you don't push the kids on them. No, no, no. Then just take one for the team. I mean, take the kids. You should have fun with kids, like your kids anyway. If you don't like having fun with them, why do you have them? But yeah, basically, I try to, when I remember he has depression, I try to just simply, like, can you handle this? Or, I love if you could do this. Is it possible today? Or, we really need to do that this weekend. Or, things like that. I also have to talk like that to myself because, frankly, sometimes I put myself a little bit too much. Just a little bit. Yeah. Well, these times, like I said, was very testing. And, if you want to hear more about my journey about concussion and that, then let me know. I have some songs that I'd like to talk about. But first, I'm like, what? What if I have depression? What if you have depression? Well, then these are some things that the Danish psychologist help.dk, they say what you can do yourself. You can cut down the expectations you have to yourself. Many with depression are disappointed about they can't do the same as other humans, other people, and have bad. Um, 2 seconds. Consciousness, and they have bad consciousness about it all. That they don't finish. If you have a depression or you're sick, and therefore you should see it as a success. If you, for example, just get out of bed and have a bath. Another thing is pull the curtains. Draw the curtains. And why is that? That is because something as simple as letting some light in your house can help a little. Go for a walk. To get out and get some fresh air and get your body moving can also help on the mood. In that way, you can also feel like you are doing something and you've been out. You can also do other things which makes you happy, like bake a cake, take a bike ride, put some good music on, or make something creative. You can talk to someone about how you feel. It can be very hard to go with negative thoughts and feelings alone, and therefore it is important that you share it with someone. It can be a family member, a friend, or a dear, a boyfriend, girlfriend. Some has difficulty about talking about it because they don't want to be a translation. I just realized I'm not wearing my glasses. They don't want to be a load. Be a load or make their loved ones sad. But often people already want to know. Often people already know that something is wrong and is only happy to find out what it is and feel included. So that's what they say here. That was my most direct translation I think I've made for a bit. An important thing I think we should think about with depression is how easy it is to get it. On Wikipedia, the English one, if you go in on the depression mood, it says life events and changes that may influence depressed moods include, but are not limited to, childbirth, menopause, financial difficulties, unemployment, stress such as from work, education, family, living conditions, etc. A medical diagnosis, cancer, HIV, etc., bullying, loss of a loved one, natural disasters, yep, even there, social isolation, rape, relationship troubles, jealousy, separation, or catastrophic injury. They can even be I'm not going to read that part. A word that I can't pronounce. So, you can also experience a depressed mood following social rejection, peer pressure, or bullying. Now, I understand and know those feelings of some of those. I know the feeling of, and it does not about me. Hello. Oh yeah, got my new glasses. Didn't show you that. Yeah. My what I call my professional glasses because they keep on falling down my nose. So you listen up, okay? And then these are almost like my sunglasses, and they are filthy. Okay. Did I look cute? That just cracked my neck. Anyway. So I hope you learned some things about depression here. And if you have some questions, just come forth to me and to Michael. I was going to say something about forgot. So, in these difficult times, whether you are depressed or you have someone that's close to you that's depressed, you need something uplifting, something that keeps you going. And one of those things I have a lot these days, other than prayer, is songs. And I want to share some of these songs with you. The songs that help me in these times are, for example, Together by the band For King and Country and some other singers. This is a Christian band. It's actually brothers that sing. And I love this song because it's basically it's basically saying, like in their chorus they say, If we fall together. If when we rise together. And I love that. It's the marriage all in one thing there with it doesn't matter how sick you are, how well you are, how rich you are, how down you are. We do it together. And that's the important part, because you can go so far with so many things as long as you're together. As soon as you're alone, it can be much more difficult, which is why it's so important to stay together about this. A band, a woman's band, also Christians, called Mary Mary, with two classic songs. Well, not classic, but they've been here for some decades. Shackles. I really love that song because it's basically telling that it actually is kind of the text I feel explains a lot where I am right now, myself personally, about that there's been such a test. There is such a test right now going on, and this test I'm trying to make it, but asking God to please lift it off my shoulders and saying that God set me free from these bondages, these shackles that I've had, and can't give up now. I love that song too. It fits our situation. It's they're basically singing that with, even though a lot of people say that this is no way to go or you can't do this, it's like I'm choosing this path with God. No one ever said it would be easy, but it's the path with God, so we're taking this. Then there's by Andy Mineo, who is a Christian rapper, who I really like two of his songs, and one of them that I'm actually dancing to a lot lately is You Can't Stop Me. And I love it because in the music video is so crazy with how he's put it and how his perspective is of basically saying the God is on my side and God is really dangerous. If I can't stop me, then you can't stop me, and I'm my worst enemy. And that thing with you can't stop me, you have no right to stop me, you have no way you can stop me because yeah, you just can't. But that I'm my worst enemy. That thought with when you look down on yourself and that you are your worst. The only one that's making you feel worse than what the world has done is yourself. Is you listening to the devil. You have a choice to listen to God and know what he has to say about you. And therefore that with you that you can't stop me. I love that song with, you know what? If I stop thinking about myself negatively, I can do basically anything I want in God's name. Whatever he has for my path. And then one I really, really love that fits, well, a lot, is Danny Gonki, not Donkey, but Gonki, Goki rather, in Haven't Seen It Yet. And I love how he just says in the part of the song with, you've seen all these things happen before. You've seen where it's been hard and then people got up or you've gone up and that. And now you're crying out, you're like, where is it going? Why don't I see it enter this? Where it's like, it's coming, but you just haven't seen it yet. It's coming. The little light at the end of the tunnel is right there. It's coming, but it's difficult. And last but not least, one of my other favorite songs that I rap to is Start Over by Flame, who is also a Christian singer, featuring NF. All these are Christian songs and singers. But what I love about this song, Start Over, is that he's saying that it doesn't matter what you've done, where you've been, what happened to you, that God that gave us Jesus to put our burdens on him so we can live a free life with God with unconditional love. So that start over is that Jesus gave us the right to start over. So anything that you have, any negative thoughts about yourself, anything you heard from others, He washed it away. It's all gone. You're free in God. You are loved. You are unique. You are beautiful. You are strong. You can do anything through God who gives you strength. Well, I hope this helped and that this taught you a lot. One thing I feel very blessed about is how positive I am through these days. That things, even no matter how hard a day can hit, and I want to cry and just want a hug from my mum, then at the end of it, I think I can just feel. I don't feel too much heavy lifting on my own shoulders. And I think I don't notice that. I don't feel that simply because God's blessing me. God is looking after me. And due to that, it's so much easier for me to handle a situation, which is really lucky compared to I can't do much. I mean, I can't be on the computer much. I can't be up much. My head can hurt so much it feels like someone's pulling my eye out and so on. All these different things. So I feel I have what do you call it? That I feel like I have surplus. I have what do you call it? I feel like I have extra. I can handle much more mentally now and physically, and that does that I can keep up with the things somewhat compared to if I couldn't do anything and Michael couldn't do anything. Well, thank you for watching, and if you made it this far, then get going, because I believe it's gone an hour now. And I need to head to bed. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and I look forward to next time shooting video. You will see. Oh. They are out. I just got a phone alarm there. So, bye. See ya.